The Perfect Week is a real opportunity for us to try out some different things. It's about looking at how we review our patients and how we move them towards discharge. Lots of patients end up in this hospital waiting for different things to happen. This is about looking at what's causing those delays, why are patients waiting, and are there things that we can do to move them through the system quicker. Volunteer support to do some of the running that week, aren't we, as well? So allocating them more appropriate so they know actually that week, if it works well, there will be more activity in pharmacy earlier in the day and it won't be quite so crazy later on in the day. It'll be a useful setup, won't it? S is for senior review. All patients will have a consultant review before 12 noon, every day. A. All patients will have a planned discharge date that patients are made aware of, based on the medical suitability for discharge agreed with the clinical teams. F is for flow of patients. This will commence at the earliest opportunity, by 10 a.m, from assessment units to inpatient wards. Wards are expected to pull the first patient to their ward before 10 a.m. E is for early discharge. Patients will be discharged from inpatient wards before middays. Take-home medications for planned discharges should be prescribed and with pharmacy by 3 p.m. the day prior to discharge. R is for review. A weekly systematic review of patients with a length of stay longer than 14 days. This will identify the issues and actions required to facilitate discharge. This will be led by senior leaders within the Trust.
Day to day I'm a finance manager, assistant group finance manager. So we get to see budgets and things for the wards and finance and the spend that goes through wards, but we don't actually get to see patient care or the problems that happen on wards on a day-to-day basis.
The buy-in from Trust Board on this, there's absolute commitment. Not just at our board level, but also at CCG board level. So this really is seen as a priority by the board. And the rationale for that is because it's about patient quality, isn't it? And the board is absolutely focused on quality.
I'm really looking forward to getting out and about in the ward areas and the other clinical departments to find out how things are going, to see what's working well, what the barriers are to people delivering a fantastic patient experience and what we can do differently.
So from a patient's perspective, to know their planned and anticipated discharge date at the point of admission and then be able to go home much earlier in the day because we've changed the way the ward round occurs after the board round must be a benefit.
We will learn a lot from the Perfect Week. We will learn from mistakes that we make during the Perfect Week. There'll be things that we can solve during the week and there'll be things that will perhaps need a longer piece of work. But certainly out of the Perfect Week, we will be developing a report that we will take to the Trust Board and we will get the sign-up from Trust Board to do some really different things going forward. And that will be based on what we learned during the week.
We have had quite a problem in the emergency department gradually getting worse over the last few years with regards to overcrowding. And the overcrowding is usually because our patients are waiting for beds. This greatly affects the patient experience. And also as nurses, we don't wish to be nursing patients in places where it's not ideal, such as a lack of privacy and dignity if you're being nursed on a corridor with a makeshift screen round you. So the Perfect Week is the ideal opportunity for us to hopefully have beds available to our patients when we need them. So therefore the patient experience should be much improved and the nurse's experience.
No, I don't have to. And then I can get TV. I need to get a TVM review for anyway. It's been a very busy week so far. We had no ward clerk Monday, a ward clerk on Tuesday, a different ward clerk today, a different coordinator every day. So the continuity of knowing what's going on with each patient has been a pick-up every morning. So people trying to find out what's happened because they weren't here yesterday.
So have you noticed anything different this week so far? Would you say or not?
Flow of patients is better.
Yeah.
It appears to be. You could only really make a true reflection of that either through data or through a continued period of doing this, as opposed to just 1 week. How many times? Who's ever been hospital?
It would free you up more as well, actually, I guess, to spend more time with patients more frequently.
Especially more
at
complex
the intervention
patients
level.
that actually need that speciality. That actually need your specialist skills and knowledge to actually overcome the barriers to getting home, to rehab, etc.
So that gentleman's going home?
Yes.
With support from the ambulance team?
Yeah, we're just, they're quite good at ambulance, they do them quite quickly, so...
Yeah. Be interesting to see how many discharges you have this week then.
Yeah, well I think...
Because what's your maximum so far, about 110?
We had 31 on Monday.
Yeah.
I think we've averaged about mid-20s all week. I think we've had 13 this morning so far down.
Okay, so you're probably over 100 this week.
Yeah.
It's going well. Today's Thursday, and we've had some really good results so far. Some frustrations, some difficulties. Early in the week, one of the first things that happened was we started to discharge patients earlier in the day. We're now discharging around 20-25 patients per day before midday, which is a really big improvement and really helps the flow. As you'll recall from what we were trying to achieve, part of this was about bringing that flow through to earlier in the day, and that's really starting to happen now.
All the doctors and the nurses and the ward managers, all the therapists that have been involved this week have put so much into making it work that if we don't understand what they're telling us that their problems are, they'll feel that they've not got anything out of it and we won't get anything positive going forward.
We've got a discharge coordinator on ward today, so it's definitely a different day in terms of proactively getting people discharged early. So that's been really good this morning.
During the perfect week, we saw obviously a lot more patients coming down here and also coming down a lot earlier. Done more timely discharges, I think. I believe the ward rounds were done a lot earlier, so patients were obviously discharged a lot earlier, which then gave us more time to sort transport out, to sort medication out, any care packages that needed reinstating. It just gave us that little bit more time to sort things out.
From a nursing perspective, there are a number of myths regarding how long it takes to get take-home drugs ready for a patient, particularly those patients that need complicated medication packages that we often refer to as nomad medication packages. Myths regarding which patients could use the discharge lounge. But we also had great support from the voluntary sector during Perfect Week, and it helped us to demystify the use of the voluntary sector and their support to patients being taken home.